So I'm pretty sure by now, if you heard about this story with Zoran Mamdani, he's claiming he did not know his Commissioner of International Affairs, Anna Maria Archela, was planning on meeting with Iran's UN ambassador. Now, once he found out, Mamdani says he shut it down immediately. That's what he wants everyone to believe. And so let's get into this because, ladies and gentlemen, this is much bigger than one official in Zoran Mamdani's administration attempting to meet with an Iranian representative before you had Marco Rubio's State Department, which stepped in and shut it down. Because the real question is not simply why this meeting was arranged. The real question is, why did someone working inside the New York City's mayor's office believe it was appropriate to go and insert themselves into American foreign policy and engage with the representative of an adversarial government during active hostilities? And not just that, why is this happening at the exact same time that the Democratic Socialists of America are becoming more open about what they truly want, ladies and gentlemen? And so take a listen to this. The Democratic Socialists of America have released new policy platforms that include eliminating the U.S. Senate, granting amnesty to all illegal aliens, defunding the Department of Defense, and replacing the president and Supreme Court with an executive and judiciary chosen by and subordinate to Congress. Check this out.
Who is representing people of America on the Hill? They want to eliminate the U.S. Senate. They want to replace the president and the U.S. Supreme Court with an executive and judiciary chosen by a subordinate to Congress. They want amnesty for all immigrants, and they want to defund the Department of War.
This is according to a source inside the DSA.
Yeah, but the main point is that there was this massive talking point that this is just liberal states and, liberal districts where this has happened. I'm sorry. This is happening all across the country. And they have some platforms that a lot of young people and a lot of people that have grievances with the rich are going with.
And guys, don't forget, if you are enjoying the content, go ahead and make sure you smash that thumbs up button. That's the best way you can let me know to stay locked in with all future videos. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. But let me go ahead and break this down. You see, this is about a socialist movement that has spent years presenting itself as harmless, all about cheaper rent, free programs, and taxing the rich, right? But now that they got some momentum, they got candidates winning elections, and they're gaining real institutional power, the movement appears to be becoming more aggressive, we've been seeing, right? More confident, and they're far less interested in actually hiding what their true intentions actually are. They no longer see themselves as outsiders protesting the government. That phase is over, ladies and gentlemen. You got to realize where we're at right now. They now see themselves as a governing movement with enough momentum to begin challenging, capturing, and eventually replacing the institutions that are standing in their way. And so the mask is not just, accidentally coming off, making mistakes. No, they believe they're finally strong enough where they can just go ahead and take it off.
Our goal is to reframe politics around class lines in the United States, which is what the ruling class has been doing forever. We want to transfer power from the 1% to the working class and to replace capitalism with socialism, which means expanding democracy in every part of our lives. And that's how we're organizing people together. In other countries that got more expansive things like universal health care, it happened with class struggle. And that's with organized workers, with majorities of the population. Power is not conceded without struggle. And that means people have to organize in our own interests to win these things.
And so that was the DSA's co-chair. And he has not been shy, to say the least, when it comes to putting the message out there about what their true intentions actually are. I showed you the clip earlier with their actual agenda. And then you hear him right now speaking, talking about how they want to implement socialism, get rid of capitalism. They just believe capitalism is so bad. And so this is no longer a movement where they feel they have to hide who they truly are. They are putting it out in the open for everyone to see because they reached the point based on what they are seeing with the performance of these candidates who are taking down incumbent Democrats who have more funding than them because the Democrat Party is in such shambles and has no direction and has no leadership. And they have Zoran Mamdani come along and gave him the keys to the car, thinking they could ride this wave, but they didn't get the keys back, ladies and gentlemen. The socialists have taken over the party, And so now they're no longer shy or worried about actually speaking about what their true agenda is, because they think that it actually will work when it comes to capturing Americans. Now, I don't believe that's going to actually work in their favor. I think they're actually miscalculating this entire thing. But this is the route they're willing to go right now. They're no longer hiding who they actually are.
James, this is what you're up against in the midterms, and we keep hearing it's a New York problem, except here we go. There are DSA candidates in Missouri, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, New Hampshire. So what is your plan to defeat these radicals?
Well, I think we just have to bring their issues to the American people, and the American people are going to reject them. Let's talk about the views that they're actually espousing and what they want to bring to the country. You said it, as they say in their documents, all amnesty for all illegal immigrants, no deportations at all, not even the criminals. So let's have a real-world example of that. A few weeks ago, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, pardoned an illegal immigrant who repeatedly sexually assaulted a 10-year-old girl. And then he pardoned him. He doesn't want to get rid of him. He doesn't want to get him out of the country. And it took Marco Rubio stepping up at the president's direction to basically remove the protections that he had to keep him here. The DSA thinks that guy needs to stay here. He needs to be out of prison, and he needs to be on the streets. They want to force taxpayers to fund sex change surgeries, including for minors. This is in their documents. This is a proposal when Zohran Mamdani ran for mayor of New York. These are the things that they're saying the country needs to do. This is where we need to go. This is not about fixing the American system or improving the American system to them. It's about destroying the American system. And I think when we present that choice to the voters, they're going to side with us, honestly.
And right now, the individual who is quarterbacking this entire thing is Zohran Mamdani, ladies and gentlemen. He is the Democrat Party's leader right now. He is the socialist leader right now. And everybody that Mamdani selected to work in his administration in New York, they align with the same ideology that he has. Let's not get it mistaken. Specifically the people who were not there before, because he has some hangovers as far as things go, like with the police commissioner for New York. He held on to that from the Adams administration. But the newbies, those are all Mamdani minions who align exactly with his ideology and are all on the same page when it comes to what the agenda is. And so when you have his Commissioner of International Affairs, who, ladies and gentlemen, understand this. Let me read this off to you first off. The city's own description identifies Archela as its International Affairs Commissioner, but the traditional mission of that office concerns relations with New York's diplomatic community, international partnerships, and exchanges between cities, not conducting a separate American foreign policy. And so that's why the question really is about, why is a local New York City representative worried about meeting with Iran's UN ambassador? But now let's go ahead and jump into this, where Mamdani has the answer about this situation. So take a listen.
My question for you is, recent reporting showed that the International Affairs Commissioner, Anna Maria Archila, was trying to meet with Iran's ambassador. Thoughts on her coordinating that meeting without your awareness? Also, what do you see Archila's role as the Commissioner of International Affairs? Is she supposed to be making these types of foreign policy, I guess, decisions behind your back? I mean, your reaction to that. And also, sorry, did you see the Graham Plattner video and your thoughts on that?
I haven't seen the video. I want to be clear on your first question. That meeting did not take place. It will not take place. And I did not know about it until there was a press inquiry regarding it. And when it comes to the work of our commissioner and our International Affairs Office, it's to ensure that, as we are a city of the world, that we are also there to meet with leaders from across the world. The focus is always on our city and our relationship.
Thank you.
Reprimanded for planning the meeting?
The commissioner recognizes that this was made an error, and we're working on a new process in terms of new meeting requests. Again, this was a request that came into the office, not one that originated from the office.
Yeah, so you just heard that. And so let me translate that, because this is what Mamdani is attempting to sell the people. It was one big computer glitch. That's what it was. It was just a glitch in the scheduling system. The Commissioner of International Affairs, they weren't really going to go and actually meet up with Iran's UN ambassador during a time where you have Iran plotting to assassinate the president. We're going to get into that momentarily. No. It didn't matter that this became, news. She never was going to actually show face anyway. That's what he's selling, ladies and gentlemen. And he's selling it like he shut it down and it's not going to go down in the future. That's how he's selling this. And this is something that I've noticed from Mamdani. The same thing happened with this whole Italy situation where he left out the Italian community on the map, on some map where he included all the other immigrant communities. And then when he was asked as far as the reasoning and the logic behind, hey, what happened? Why was the Italian community? Why was the Irish community? Why were they left off this map, but you included Little Palestine and all these other communities that just happen to be Muslim faith? He just said, well, technically it wasn't me. It was the last administration. And, something obscure that you can't really prove and be able to pass the buck. Just paying attention to that. But let's take a listen to what Rubio had to say. Check this out.
Okay. On the other hand, Iran likes to sponsor proxy groups of terrorists. And these terrorists don't care what they blow up. They blow up anything and everyone. Okay, this is who we're dealing with. Okay, this is an Iran that not long ago, through their Hezbollah proxies, blew up a Jewish center in Argentina and killed a bunch of people. This is an Iran that innovated the use of roadside bombs that killed and maimed a bunch of people, including American servicemen, but a bunch of other people. This is an Iran that has organized the assassinations and the attempted assassinations of people all over the world, including civilians and dissidents and people they don't agree with. There is no nation on earth that sponsors more terrorism than Iran, and they've spent millions and millions of dollars sponsoring terrorism and targeting individuals all over the world, and including civilians have been caught up in that. Okay, that's what Iran has done. They didn't spend their millions and millions on building roads and bridges and improving the life of their people. That's why their people are always in the street protesting, because their economy has been in shambles, because they don't invest in their economy. They would rather invest in Hezbollah. They would rather invest in the rapists and the murderers of Hamas. They would rather invest in those groups than they do in their own people. That's what Iran invests in. And that's what you should be asking me about. That's what the BBC should be covering. And that's what these other media outlets should be covering, is how evil these people are in Iran and the damage they've done to people all over the world. The world's leading sponsor of terrorism is Iran. And look what they're doing now. They are holding hostage civilian vessels, including ships that have now been stuck in the Persian Gulf. They've laid mines in an international waterway. And yet, despite all of that, the United States remains committed to finding a diplomatic solution to this crisis. But let's be clear who we're talking about here. We're not talking about some pacifist government over there, or some pacifist regime. We're talking about one of the most vicious regimes on the face of the earth and in modern history. That's what we're dealing with. And we were going to take away their missiles, we were going to take away their ability to make new ones, and we were going to wipe out their Navy. Imagine if they had a real Navy. What they have now is a bunch of small little speedboats that can lay mines and harass vessels, but they used to have a Navy. Now that Navy resides at the bottom of the ocean. And that was the objective of Epic Fury.
And so right there you have Marco Rubio explaining exactly who Iran is. But yet somehow, for Zoran Mamdani and his administration, the best they could come up with this entire thing is that it was just a computer glitch. I find it hard to believe while we're locked into this heated exchange, United States of America and Iran, while we're locked into this, somehow, just mistakenly, a meeting was going to happen between one of Mamdani's officials, the so-called Commissioner of International Affairs, and an Iran official. And you mean to tell me that it was just all the mishap of a computer glitch? That one is really hard it does not pass the smell test, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion. It just does not pass the smell test. Yeah, and so anything that has to do with Iran, you would think a red flag go up. You would, as a government official, as anybody working on an administration, you're the Commissioner of International Affairs, whatever. I don't care who it is. You would think that you're intelligent enough. I guess that a bit too much to ask, but you would think that there was a level of awareness to understand that you probably want to stay as far away from anything to do with Iran right now, while the United States of America and Iran have this conflict going on. Just saying, right? I mean, right now, literally, there's a plot to assassinate the president of the United States, President Trump, and it was discovered. And so take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen.
Happening even after the latest rounds of fighting.
This comes as a new Israeli intel report reveals another plot to assassinate President Trump.
So here we go again. Benjamin Hall joins us live from our London bureau with the latest on this. Hey, Benji.
Yeah, hi Lawrence, Brian and Emily. Yes, yesterday we saw Iran continue to launch strikes towards US military sites in Bahrain, in Qatar, in Kuwait. And the big question now is, will the US respond to those strikes? Remember, President Trump has said that they will do so 20-1 for any Iranian strikes. And they have been doing so all week. We've seen dozens of attacks across Iran. But so far today, we haven't seen any military action. And President Trump still saying the diplomatic channel does still remain open. All this being said, as you just pointed out, Israel now sharing intelligence with DC, showing that Iran has developed a new plot to assassinate President Trump. And there were numerous banners at the Ayatollah's funeral, he was buried just this morning, calling for President Trump's death.
The life of a president is very dangerous. It's a very dangerous profession. No, I'm #1 on the kill list for Iran. They're lovely people. I'm #1. So I don't know. I can't tell you that, but I don't really care because I'm doing my job and I'm doing it, I hope, better than anybody's ever done it.
Yeah, so I'm going to go and leave it right here. You got the Democrat Socialists of America who are now more outspoken, less afraid to say what they're really looking to do, what their real intentions really are. And so I think we're only going to see more and more of this bold, outspoken willingness to do things that basically tell people exactly what they truly want to do, no matter what it looks like. And then they'll spin it just like Mamdani's doing now, spinning it in such a way to try and remove himself from accountability and actually being held liable, responsible for what happens. We'll have to keep up with all of this, but you guys let me know your thoughts. I appreciate when you guys chime in. Drop your comments down below. Smash that thumbs up if you enjoy the content. For more, subscribe to the channel. And as always, until next time.